I'm a pretty black and white person. I really don't too much believe in gray area, but there are rare circumstances where I do very much believe in the gray area. Um, Today we're going to talk about Officer Hoyt from Training Day and Malcolm X and what they might not have understood in their quest to change the world or make it a better place. Yes, there are wolves inside on the inside. Where you work at, who are above you, these guys realize that there's wolves. These guys above us in the positions that we want to get into are wolves. Just like the wolves we're going after. They understood that. Or they had knowledge of that. I feel like where they lacked understanding, though, is just like Denzel's character, Alonzo. He told Officer Hoyt, man, if you want to get in there and change things, whatever, man, you can do that, but you got to get there first. You got to get to the power. You got to do it from the inside out. You got to get the power first. You can't start bucking and shucking without the power. Ride things out for a little bit, get to know how things move, and then try to make change when you get inside the system. But while you still on the outside, you ain't got no power, you're just crying, and it's not going to change anything in the grand scheme. The machine's going to keep rolling, and you're just going to be on the outs. Whether you're, Hoyt, you get pushed back to parade detail or whatever you was doing, and Malcolm, you get killed or just outed from the nation. These guys saw things that they didn't like on the inside, and they already had big hearts, and they wanted to see change and things like that, and they wanted to make a name for themselves. And that's most men, especially with ambition. You want to make a name for yourself, but the problem is a lot of times ego can kick in. Ego can kick in. And we're all human. Like I said, one of these guys is a movie character, but one of these guys is a very real character that we also don't humanize because he's such a famous, polarizing figure in history. But he was a man, and men fall short sometimes. Men have ego. And even at the age of 40, he was still growing as a man. He had lived a whole different life in his younger years, so he was still growing as a grown man. There was still some understanding maybe he lacked. And I think one thing he wasn't thinking was, hey, I see what's going on here. Let me ride this thing out. Then when I get myself in position, I'm going to change all this shit. I'm going to change all this. But I got to get there first. Was your ego or your heart or whatever too big for you to be able to wait things out till you're in position? Think of the bigger picture. That's something I think him and Jake, maybe, of course, it was different situations. Jake's hand was more forced a little bit more. He had to make some quicker moves and things like that because that situation was going to hell quickly on that movie, Training Day. But in the grand scheme, it's still the same thing. You can see, yes, these guys that you work with, that you vitalized, you realize they might not walk on water. But right now, you can't change that because you ain't got the power. And that's what it's about. Once you get the power and you get on the inside, you can change it. And that lack of understanding probably caused Jake to become, or caused Hoyt to become detective, and actually get those big bucks doing what he loves. That probably cost him. And obviously it cost Malcom his life in the end. And again, this is just, hey man, this is just pure speculation. It's opinion. You know, I ain't trying to offend nobody and stuff like that. Especially Malcom. Look, I know he has family and all that. It's just something to provoke thought. All I'm saying is, sometimes if we want to make change, you got to get in a position to be able to make change first.